Hello. In this video, I hope to show you how to do some order of operation problems. We'll also review the answers to our pre-lecture notes. In this lecture, we are going to do order of operations and applications, dimensional analysis, and scientific notation and applications. But in this specific video, we will focus only on order of operations. The other videos will be found in your content guide. Our objective for order of operations is to be able to evaluate numerical expressions that include powers and roots, as well as other mathematical operations using the order of operations. I'm not going to read through the other outcomes or objectives as they are not relevant to this video. For order of operations, we can memorize the order of operations using the acronym PEMDAS. The P in PEMDAS represents parentheses. We also know that we need to use fractions as a grouping symbol as that first step. Second, the E in PEMDAS represents exponents. At the same level as exponents are roots. Third, the M and the D in PEMDAS represent multiply and divide. Those operations should happen from left to right. And finally, the A and S in PEMDAS represents add and subtract. And again, these operations are at the same level and they happen from left to right. In our pre-lecture notes, there are videos helping you use your calculator. I will go through these answers and also show you key buttons. So when we want to do something that is squared on our calculator, we have a squared key right here on our calculator. When we want any other exponent, we have what is referred to as the caret or up arrow key. It is directly above the squared key on the calculator and it is used for typing all other exponents. The how-to video is linked in pre-lecture 1. For roots, if we are doing a square root, which is written without the index, we can use the second key, which is here, and then the squared key. That combination will get us the square root symbol. All other roots have the index written at the front. So here, this cube root or this 1/2 root, they have an index written prior to the root symbol. To do those, you will start by typing the index. So you see here my keystrokes. I type the 3, and then I will use the second and the up arrow key. So the second up arrow combination gets us this other root, anything other than square root. Again, the how-to video is linked in the pre-lecture. Our calculator handles fractions very well. It has a button that allows you to type a fraction, which is the A, B over C key, and it is here. Let me switch to a different color pen so you can see that better. So in a row right here on the calculator. That also allows you to type mixed numbers. Using the A, B, C over key and the second key combination allows you to switch back and forth between mixed number and improper fraction. And you see that in the blue font here. And then using the second and the PRB key, so PRB key is here, allows you to switch back and forth between fraction and decimal, and you see that again in the blue font. So again, video linked in pre-lecture takes you through all of those keystrokes. Finally, some of the problems will have us use Euler's number, which is this letter E. It is a number similar to pi in that it does not repeat and the decimal goes on forever, and the keystrokes for that are the second and then this LN button. And again, you see the E here. It is also referred to as the natural base or the natural antilog. And so you see it is used as a base and it will expect an exponent when you're using E. Again, video is in pre-lecture for how to use that exactly. The focus of this video is on order of operations problems. And I do not have an electronic version of the TI-30 calculator, but I will show you how to do this and show you on the graphing calculator, which is very similar keystrokes. So when I look at this first problem, there are a couple things that I notice. The first thing that I notice is that it is a fraction, and in PEMDAS, we need to evaluate fractions first. In order to evaluate a fraction, we need to know the numerator, which is the top, and the denominator, which is the bottom, separately. When I look at the numerator, it has parentheses, and they are nested parentheses. So it is best to start in the middle of that, as deeply into the parentheses as you can go. But your calculator knows order of operations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type everything that is in the brackets into my calculator to get an answer. So I'm going to go to my calculator and I'm going to type just what we had there. So inside the bracket, I had 6, and then I had subtract, and then I had parenthesis, and I had 2, subtract 4, and parenthesis. So I hit enter or equal, and that portion gives me 8. So going back to my problem, what I now know is that all of this bracket work simplified to 8. So I'm able to rewrite the top of this to be 9 minus 2, and then in the bracket, all of that simplified to be 8. I did not touch the denominator yet, and so I have all of these pieces here. And now I'm going to go back to my calculator, and I'm going to enter the entire numerator at the top. So on my calculator, I'm typing 9 minus 2, and you have options here. You can use the parentheses, or you can use a multiplication to symbolize that you're multiplying that times the answer we had in the brackets, which was 8. And so I do all that, and I have as the top of this fraction a -7. So now I have -7 over, and I'm going to also do the denominator or bottom. And my calculator is going to handle all of this, so I'm going to just go and type this into my calculator. So we had 9 subtract 2 squared, and we have that squared key, so we're not using the up arrow here, just the squared key. And then we have minus or subtract 5. We hit enter, and we get that the denominator there is 0. So I have -7 over 0, and now I can complete that fraction by doing the top divided by the bottom. So -7 divided by 0, and I get this error message. And the error message is going to look like a little different on your calculator, but it is going to give you an error message. And it explains to us that you cannot divide by 0. And so you may remember that, and this is specifically in our notes because it'll show up in homework. Division by 0 is undefined, so there is no answer, and we will have a multiple choice option that allows us to pick undefined in our homework. So I wanted to make sure that we did that one in class so that we knew what to do when we get that error message. So now we'll go on to question number 2. For this one, there is a root symbol, so we have to be able to do that in our calculator. There's an exponent. We're going to have to use the up arrow key on that, but there's not a fraction, and so our calculator is just going to be able to handle this as it is. We don't have to do any of the pieces separately from our calculator. So going to my calculator, I'm going to clear my error message and clear all of my work there. So we start the next problem. So for this problem, we had the square root, and so we'll start by using the second key and the squared key, and that gets us the square root. And then your calculator is going to start that with a parenthesis. And so inside that parenthesis, you want to type, and I forget my problem here, 6 plus 3. So you'll type 6 plus 3, and then you'll end that parenthesis to end the root. And when you end that parenthesis, you are automatically done with the root. And so then we're going to take that and we're going to multiply that times 5, and we have to use our up arrow key, and your up arrow key is right above your squared, or it can also be referred to as the caret key, and we want that to be to the 4th. So we've typed it in, we hit enter, and we get our answer of 1875. So we totally did that on the calculator, no work done by hand. Our calculator is programmed to know order of operations. It's just that we have to be able to type it in correctly so that the calculator is understanding the same problem that we are doing. So for our last one, this one, similar to the first one, has the brackets and has the parentheses. So I'm going to work at typing in that portion. So what I'm going to be typing first is starting right here after the brackets. Let's start right here with this 2. And so 2 minus parenthesis 2 cubed. So I'm going to be using that up arrow caret key. And then I'm going to have to get a 4th root. So this it's going to be a little bit more challenging, but I'm going to just type that portion on the calculator to start with. So I'm going to clear, and I have 2 minus parenthesis. Your parentheses are right above your number keys. And then I have 2 to the 3rd, so 2 up arrow 3. And we have that typed without issue. And then we have plus. And now we have a 4th root. So in order to get a 4th root, I have to start by typing that 4 for the indices. So I do the 4. And then on your calculator, you're going to type 2nd and the up arrow key. On this calculator, it is different. So I'm going to go get my symbol, but you don't need to pay attention to my symbol because you already are typing your symbol on your calculator, which is going to be the 2nd and the up arrow for you. And then inside here, I'm going to type 6561, and that is where I'm going to end that. So for you guys, you can end your parenthesis and hit enter. And so that entire section is negative 15. So coming back to my problem, this entire brackets part is what I put in the calculator so far, and all that is negative 15. So I'm going to rewrite my problem. It is now 5 minus 9 times a negative 15. And you can use bracket, parenthesis, or multiply here, whichever. This is a multiplication, and we've done all the work that is in that bracket. So I'm going to go to my calculator and type that last bit in. So 5 minus 9 times a negative. Make sure you're getting the negative down here, not the subtract key, but the negative and the 15, because that's a negative number. It's not a subtraction problem. We hit enter, and we get our answer here of 140. So really big points with order of operations. Yes, we have PEMDAS to help us through order of operations. So I knew on my calculator to do the brackets or parentheses first. But from there, my calculator is programmed in order of operations. And so it's just a matter of typing, being able to type powers, roots, the negative sign, the parentheses. Being able to type well is going to get us through those order of operation problems rather than having to do a lot of mental math or a lot of math piece by piece. So there are additional videos to help you through the next set of problems that are in your content guide, and hope that this was helpful to you.